Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to the online course on entrepreneurial mindset. We'll be talking about some tips for effectual finance. And as we have just covered in the case Stacy's pita chips, we'd like to understand how to apply effectual principles in dealing with finance related issues. So we'll be talking about various interventions like how to deal with suppliers when money is a hurdle. So I would like to say thanks to Saraswati's material which we will be using in these slides. So when dealing with your suppliers, think of negotiation in the following: delayed payment terms. So once again we would say that we have to take care of honesty, integrity, and care and concern of others. No cheating, no lying. So we would request, in terms of a startup, we are short of money, cash flow problems, so we would request and make an effectual ask of delayed payments. We can ask them to pay as a percentage of revenue. Sir, we would like to give a certain percentage of revenue as time passes on. So what is happening is you're avoiding that tension of returning money related to time. You can ask them to invest in your idea, in your project, in your service. So the suppliers become investors, or paying them in direct services, making them customers. For example, you're using their raw material to make a product which can be used by your suppliers, and maybe you're selling some of these things to them. Use their Slack resources. Maybe they have an empty space, a storage, a processing equipment which is needed by you, and maybe you're purchasing from them, but in addition they give you at a reduced cost, at a less cost, at free. Some skills, some competency, you can gain it from them. And sometimes you need a line of credit, and you can leverage your suppliers who are credible. You can request them for a line of credit, and you can ask them to request a bank to give them loan using their credibility. So when working with customers, so you have a customer and you have very less money, you are a startup, so how to proceed? Ask them for cash upfront for better pricing. Upfront, so you can avoid cash flow problems. You can reduce the cost of the product and service, but ask advance. And sometimes you can get a solid purchase order from your customer and then give it as a collateral to an investor, to a banker. For example, you want to make some equipment and you got the order and you don't have enough money for the machines and the raw material, so you use that purchase order and then go to the lender, and based on that purchase order, that becomes a collateral. Use your customer's bank. So your customer is pretty credible. For example, use his credibility and use his connections to get loan from his bank and piggyback him, and so use him to get a line of credit from some other place based on his credibility, and pre-sell your product and service for the next 3-4 years. So you have got an order for the next few years, and that gives you money ahead of time, and makes you credibility and sustainability. How to get around with investors. So the effectuation principle says that borrow money from them and don't just take investments. Try to borrow. Pay them back as a variable cost against a percentage of revenue, not against time. So tell them that we'll be paying you as a percentage of revenues as they keep on coming. So you can avoid that anxiety, and you can get line of credit through them as well if you need additional money. And whenever you deal, you need to deal in a very intelligent, interesting way that you can earn back the ownership. So once again, all these techniques are assumed to be used with the basic, level of honesty, ethics, and credibility. When dealing with employees, so rather than hiring them directly on cash payments, try to get them on options. Like in Stacy's case, she engaged her brother on profit share, and so he came in rather than a salary. If you have to give a salary, kitchen expenses, then have a base salary, and the additional over and above shall be percentage of sales or a percentage of profit. So these are timeless rules of new ventures and bootstrapping, that never buy what you can rent. Never buy what you try to rent it. Never rent what you can barter for. If you can exchange something, then never rent it. Don't spend time. Just exchange it. And if you can borrow something for free, then don't exchange and just borrow it. And if you can get it for free, and then don't need to borrow, just get it from your friends, neighborhood, your family. So these are some golden rules. And so which funding approach needs to be pursued? So what are the limits? So bootstrapping benefits, let's look at the benefits first. Bootstrapping limits the money put into fledgling ventures. If you use the effectual approach, you become parsimonious, you do much with less. So you avoid, you see, wasting and spending extra money. So when do we need to go for external funding? This is a difficult question, because sometimes you can lose an opportunity if you are going slowly with the effectual approach. You're not scaling up quickly, and maybe you are losing out an opportunity. So that exact balance has to be found out by the entrepreneur, and it depends on many variables. So what the effectuation mode says that still, if you want to scale up, still try to be creative, innovative, and try to avoid external funding. So startups can find creative ways, as we saw in this case, creative ways to avoid external funding, and because it helps you to retain control and be flexible. Otherwise, the people who give you loan and who become owners, they won't let you do that. So the exact decision to go for external or go for bootstrapping it depends on the entrepreneur. And if you are extremely creative using your burden hand, you can still find money within. But external funding can also be engaged in a creative way. So the takeaway of this session is that aspiring entrepreneurs, there are numerous ways to grow a business, and there are as many ways as that many people. Every human being is unique, and experienced entrepreneurs prefer the cheapest options. Be creative and think carefully for outside environment. So I would like to conclude these tips, and looking forward to applying these tips in your daily life and in the entrepreneurial ventures. Thank you very much.